somebody asked us a question. The question was, the cock cried. The cock cried during the time of Yahshua. Yes, it was proving the prophecy. But whose cock was that? And whose home was that?
So let's read that specific verse together. Do you have that verse with you? Luke 22, verse 34. I tell thee, Peter, the cock shall not crow this day before that you will 3 times deny that you knew me. All right, so there's 2 explanations. I'm going to give you both. So there's the physical cock, the male chicken. Even on our farm, we have hoenderhane, cocks. And even before the sun comes up, they actually do crow, Cuckoo. There goes the cock crowing. They wake up before the sunrise, and then they wake all of us up. So we have a saying that you get out of bed together with a cock. You don't wait until the sun bakes you out of bed. So that's normally what happens on farms. So it's a natural thing. It's a thing of nature that this specific animal, the male chicken, not the female, the male chicken, God actually gave him that beautiful, strong voice, so that he can crow, and wake, everybody up. So it's a natural thing. And of course, where was Yahshua when the cock was crowing? Remember, he was in the house of the high priest, wasn't he? So Yahshua was arrested in Gethsemane. All right, and they led Yahshua away to the high priest. And with him were assembled all the chief priests and the elders and the scribes. So Yahshua was physically taken from the Garden of Gethsemane to the high priest, the chief priest's house. So who was the high priest? The hoofpriester. Ag, wat was sy naam? Caiaphas. So he was taken to Caiaphas's house, and at that moment, you can just imagine it wasn't a surprise. All the elders were there, all the priests, all the scribes, all the Pharisees. Everybody was already assembled there, together with, coincidentally, all the false witnesses. So they were waiting for him there. But basically, this is in Jerusalem, right? So the question Deborah, this friend of Deborah had was, whose cock was it? It could have been the high priest's cock, because these people had their own chickens. All of them. A chicken is a kosher animal. It could have been any one of the neighbors. I mean, basically, the chickens were, walking around in the streets. It could have been like we've got dogs, and if you hear a dog bark, it can be your dog, it can be the neighbor's dog, who knows? Doesn't really matter whose cock it was that was crowing. So that's on the natural, physical side. All right. But then there's another side. There's the interpretation side. I just want to see, I've got a message here. Heard something that it was, there we go. Thank you. So Yolanda said she heard something that it was the priest blowing the shofar. So, and that's the important thing. I'm going to take you back all the way to Egypt. So, in Egypt, you had the pyramids, right? At the top of the pyramid, you had that very top triangle. And when in the morning, as the sun came up, when that little tippy of the pyramid, when the sun rays hit that little tippy of the pyramid, that was when the Egyptian priest at the temple, would then announce that the day has started. Just as a cock, the moment that the sun comes up, the cock crows. So the cock is the announcer of daybreak. So eventually the priest at the Egyptian pagan temples were called the cock. The cock that crowed, because he would announce the daybreak, because he would see the very tippy of the pyramid lighted by the sun rays. And unfortunately, that is where we have the cock at the top of Christian churches. They built those stellas, those toering towers, those little towers. And a lot of these towers are built in the same fashion as the stellas. We call them stellas, the Egyptian stellas. It's long tower-like buildings, and at the top you've got a pyramid little tip, and those were called the pillars. You'll read about them in the Bible where God says you must break down the Ashtaroth pillars and the Baal pillars, because it was those things. So unfortunately, in the Christian system, the churches were all built, not the modern churches today, but if you look at all these older church buildings, you'll see all of them. They've got this long little tower, this high tower. And instead of a pyramid at the top of the tower, they have the cock. You guys have seen that. And so it comes from that ancient mythological announcer of the daybreak. But on Yahuwah's side, on Israel's side, on the truth side, we have the same. If you've done the study that I've posted for you about being caught like a thief in the night, you'll remember that the high priest, God's high priest, it was also his responsibility to get up before daybreak and to prepare the tabernacle and the temple and the altar and the morning sacrifice. So the high priest would normally get up before sunrise, make sure everything is ready, because the moment the sun rises, the shofar is blown, and the daybreak is announced, and the morning sacrifice is put upon the altar. And eventually, over time, that priest that announced the daybreak was also called the cock. So in the time of Yahshua, whether it was a physical cock that crowed or the priest that blew the shofar, both of them were announcing the daybreak. So Yahshua was saying, Peter, before the day breaks, you would have denied me, betrayed me 3 times. The Bible does say that Peter actually heard the cock crow. But again, was it a physical, natural chicken that he heard crowing? Or was it the shofar of the priest that he heard that was being blown? It could have been both. It could have been either, because it means the same thing. So, does that answer the question, Deborah?
Answers.
Yes.
Yes, it answers.